Bismillah, alhamdulillah, salatu wassalamu ala rasulillah, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Come on, you love the Prophet? Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa man wala. How many amongst the audience are immigrants? Raise your hand.
Everybody.
No, let's check. Some people will not raise their hands. Let me see. Wow. So everybody in the room is an immigrant. Am I right or right?
Yeah. Right.
Okay, perfect. Back in the days, more than 14 centuries ago, there were some people living in a place and they were forced to immigrate. We were not, but we immigrated. And when they immigrated, they left some things behind. And they left with only one thing with them. Are you there?
Yeah.
Are you following me?
Yeah.
Now, let's see, what did they leave behind? Do you have the PowerPoint on? They left a beautiful house. SubhanAllah, we come here, we spend like almost 30 years to make a house. And we can't move from one city to the other because we own a house. But the first thing they sacrificed, their own house. Abdullah ibn Jahsh, radiallahu anhu, the cousin of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, left something like a mansion. But he left it. And subhanAllah, when he got the news that Abu Jahl and others, they went to his house and they plundered the house, he was crying. He said, Prophet of Allah, did you hear what they did to my house? And he said, Abdullah, what do you think of a house in Jannah that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to give you in place of this one? So he smiled and said, I don't care anymore. They left the house. What else? They left their own family. Can you leave your family? They left their own families. They were forced to. And subhanAllah, when Salama radiallahu anha wanted to immigrate and join her husband, they didn't allow her. And the two families, her family and her in-laws, were like snatching Salama, each one from one side, until they dislocated his shoulders. Not allowing her to immigrate. So she was left in Mecca and her husband was in Medina. This is how much they sacrificed. What else did they leave? Can you see that? Yeah. They left their wealth, their property. Now let me ask the question. Can I talk freely without this? Can you hear me? Turn it on. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
It's working. Okay, I'm doing that. I don't like to stand behind a podium. Okay. They left their wealth. Much echo?
Yeah.
Is it so cool?
It's lower down. Yeah. More.
Okay, what about this?
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay. So they left their wealth. They left all what they have accumulated from this dunya. But the best question and the most important one, what did they take with them to the new community? Their deen. They were ready to sacrifice everything except the only thing that they can take to their grave. Brothers and sisters, if you take everything with you to the grave except your deen, you're a loser. But if you take only your deen to the grave, you're successful. You know why? Can I share the toughest exam with you right now? Yes. The toughest exam in your life. How many of you have attended exams before? Come on, raise your two hands. You know, high school and junior high and college, university. And we go through other exams, hardships, right? But the toughest exam ever is not even an open book exam. It's an exam that you know the questions from now, and you know the answers from now. But the problem is, can you say the answers at that time? 3 questions. What are they? What was the brand of the car when you're driving before you die? No, that's wrong. It's not a question. How many children did you make in your dunya? No, that's not the question list. What neighborhood did you used to live in? How much was your house in the dunya? Allah doesn't care about all of that. He gave you all of these. Isn't this our concern today? The house, the children, the car, the bank account. The questions are, Man Rabbuk? Who's your Lord? To whom did you submit in this dunya? To your desires? To shaitan? To yourself? To your bad friends? To the dunya? Or did you submit to your Lord, your Creator? Second question, what's your religion? I was a Muslim. What did you know about Islam? That's it. They told me you're a Muslim. And this is why, when I immigrated here, you know, every time they ask me at the borders, like, what's your name? I say Muhammad. But when I came in, and I found that's not a desired name, I changed it into Mo. I don't know why. Why would you become a Mo? When Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam is the best name. In fact, it's the most famous name in the world. One of my friends, he has 10 children. Do you know what are their names? Muhammad. Come on, what do you mean? Like Muhammad? All of them. Muhammad the first, Muhammad the second, Muhammad the third. See how much he loved the name. What do we do today when it comes to our identity? Are we trying to be proud that we are followers of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam? Now, third question is about him. Who's your prophet? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said that for you to make it in that exam, there are certain conditions. Because if I were to give you the exam now, all of you will get 100%. Right? But at that moment, in the grave, when the two angels will come to you, they're so scared. You'll forget everything. And unless you have lived all your life to know who Allah is and submit to Him, and unless you know what Islam is and you apply it in every aspect of your life, and unless you know who is Prophet Muhammad ﷺ and you study his life and emulate him in every aspect of your life, at that moment you will say, لا أدري سمعت الناس يقولون فقلت مثل ما يقولون. Oh, I don't know, I just heard people saying something and I imitated them. And this is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in Surah Ibrahim, Surah number 14, ayah number 22, يثبت الله الذين آمنوا بالقول الثابت في الحياة الدنيا وفي الآخرة. Allahu Akbar. The scholars of tafsir said, يثبت الله, Allah will support you. Who? الذين آمنوا. He didn't say الذين أسلموا. All the words in the Quran are selected. They are not randomly there. Allah didn't say those who became Muslims. No, you have to upgrade to a movement. Because Islam is 3 degrees. Islam, Iman, and Ihsan. You know Ihsan, your cousin? That's not what I'm talking about. Okay? So Iman is the 2nd degree. So you need to understand you have to upgrade to a moment to get the support in the grave to be able to pass the exam. بالقول الثابت, they said لا إله إلا الله. في الحياة الدنيا, at the moment when you are dying. Because the Prophet ﷺ said, من كان آخر كلامه من الدنيا لا إله إلا الله دخل الجنة. He whose last words before he leaves this dunya are لا إله إلا الله, he will make it to Jannah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guide all of our steps to Jannah. Say Ameen. Yes. Allah said, وَيَدُوبُ اللَّهُ الظَّالِمِينَ وَيَفْعَلُ اللَّهُ مَا يَشَاءُ. And Allah will never guide the oppressors, the tyrants. Have you heard about the Pharaoh? Have you heard about the Pharaoh?
Yeah.
I'm not talking about the current one. I'm talking about the time of Musa alayhi salam.
Yeah.
Okay? Pharaoh. Yeah. He never died. He leaves descendants. Okay? Now, Pharaoh at that time of Musa alayhi salam, look at the moment when he died. Go and read in Surah Yunus, Surah number 10, ayat 89 and below. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, فَلَمَّا أَدْرَكَهُ الْغَرَقَ. When he was dead sure that he's dying, he's drowning. Subhanallah, now he wants to make tawbah. It's done. What did he say? Look at the words he said. It's easy to say La ilaha illallah, but not everyone will say it. Allah said, يُثَبِّتُ اللَّهُ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا. He was not from الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا. He committed the biggest sin ever. The biggest sin ever. He claimed to be Allah. He said, أَنَا رَبُّكُمُ الْأَعْلَى. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, look at what he said. He said, آمنت أنه لا إله إلا الذي آمنت به بنو إسرائيل وأنا من المسلمين. 14 words. And you can see the arrogance in the statement. He said, I believe in the one that the people of Israel believed in, and I'm amongst those who submit themselves to Allah. Isn't it easy to say La ilaha illallah? And this is what Allah said, وَيُضُلُّ اللَّهُ الظَّالِمِينَ. Allah will never guide the tyrants and the oppressors to say it at the moment of death. And Jibreel alayhi salam tells our beloved Prophet sallallahu he said, لَوْ تَرَانِي يَا رَسُولَ اللَّهِ آخُذُ مِنْ طِينِ الْبَحْرِ وَأَضْعَهُ فِي فَمِ فِرْعَوْنَ حَتَّى لَا يَنْطِقُ الشَّهَادَةِ. He said, at that moment when the Pharaoh was dying, drowning, Jibreel said, I was bringing the mud from the bottom of the ocean and filling his mouth so that he wouldn't say La ilaha illallah before he dies. Why? Because the Prophet told us, if Allah loves someone, He commands Jibreel to love him. And He commands Jibreel to announce amongst all the angels that Allah loves His servant and slave so and so love him. And then all people on earth love him. And vice versa. When Allah hates someone, He commands Jibreel to hate him. And Jibreel commands the angels to hate him. وَتُوضَعْ لَهُ الْبَغْضَاءُ فِي الْأَرْضِ. And all the people will hate him. So if you see someone loved by people on earth, it's a sign that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves him in heaven. Going back, the Sahaba sacrificed everything. Can we do it? Say yes we can.
Yes.
Hello?
Yes,
Say,
we can. Yes, we can.
Yes we can.
Inshallah.
But not the other one, okay? Now, when we immigrated here, people have three attitudes. Immigrants have three attitudes, right? What's the first one? The first one, I remember when I first came to Toronto here in 1998. I was asked to give a khutbah at the Jami'ah Mosque. And after I finished the khutbah, with the grace of Allah, a Canadian white man was there listening to the khutbah and he accepted Islam. And when I asked him, he was like, what's your name? He said, my name is Timothy. I said, okay, would you like to change your name or keep it? Because Timothy in English means generous. He said, yeah, I want to change it to Kareem in Arabic. I said, you didn't change it, you just translated it, because this is exactly what it means in Arabic. It's amazing. And on my way out of the masjid, a Bosnian uncle came to me. I can't forget that day. And he put his hands on my shoulder. He said, young man, how long have you been here? I said, 48 hours. And he said, listen, Canada is a big melting pot. Keep your identity. Don't melt. Stay the way you are. I said, make dua for me, inshallah. Did you get the words?
Yes.
That's the first one. Some people come, and that's the first attitude. They blindly follow everything. Can you see the picture? Does it send you a message? That's what happens when we follow blindly. Because we want to be accepted by them. They will never accept you except in one case. And Allah stated that in the Quran. When you follow them and when you follow their faith. This is the only time when they will accept you. Are we here to please Allah or to please Allah?
Allah.
These are your two options. And this is called Egyptian democracy. Okay? So we are here to please Allah. That's it. The problem today is that our main concern is to please people. Wallahi. And I'm saying, Wallahi, you can never please people. Imam Shafi'i rahimahullah said, إرضاء الناس غاية لا تدرك وهي عند الله مذمومة وإرضاء الله غاية تدرك وهي عند الله محمودة. Trying to please people is something unattainable, and Allah is like that. Trying to please Allah is something attainable, and Allah is pleased with that. Would you like a story?
Yes.
Well, I heard only 2 or 3 years.
Yes.
I don't think you're excited for the story.
Yes.
When people do this to me, I cliffhang them. I'm going to show the story at the end. Let's try again. Would you like a story?
Yes.
Now I can tell the story. Wake up. Did you give them dinner?
No, not yet.
Oh, alhamdulillah. That's good.
Thanks.
Okay. You know, we have a very comedian character in the Arabic literature called Juha. And if there are Arabs here, once they hear Juha, they're going to smile because they expect something funny. I can tell who are Arabs here now. Okay, so Juha is like a comedian in the Arabic literature. He bought a donkey one day and he had his son with him. And they were walking and the donkey walking next to them. So the first group of people that saw them, they said, look at Juha. He's buying a donkey and he's walking, he's not using it. So Juha said, hey son, we want to please people. Let's try. He started riding the donkey. Now the next group of people that saw them, they said, Astaghfirullah. Look at the man. He's riding the donkey, leaving his little baby like boy, walking. And he wanted to please people. He said, son, come here. He stepped down and he got his son on the back of the donkey. Next group of people, they said, Astaghfirullah, look at this rude boy. Riding the donkey, leaving his dad walking. He said, son, stop, let's please people. Both of them were at the back of the donkey. The next group of people that saw them, they said, look at those at these 2 merciless people. Both of them are at the back of the donkey, they're going to break his back. He said, son, step down. They carried the donkey. Hey, wait, I didn't finish. The next group of people saw them, like, look at those crazy people. They have a donkey and they're carrying him. Is there any other possible scenario? Wallahi, you will never please people. Whatever you do in your life, you take off your hijab to be accepted by them, they will still say, you're not one of us. You want to shave your beard? You want to hide? Still your color is different. Come on, we are here to please Allah. It's easy to please Allah, rather than to please people. And remember this story and share it with your kids. It's easy to please Allah, and Allah will be pleased with you. Now, this is the first attitude of the immigrants. They melt. They blindly imitate everything. What's your intention of doing this? Check your intention. Now, what's the second attitude? The opposite extreme. Some people say, these are the kuffar. Stay away from them. And one time I was interviewed in the Egyptian TV, and a non-Muslim was in the interview. He's like, don't you call me a kafir? I said, did I say it? You just said it now. Did you hear me saying it? He said, no. I said, even though you're a kafir. And then I said, listen, don't you call me a kafir too? He said, yeah. I said, so tit for tat. 1 for 1. But I'm not going to come and say, hey, by the way, I just want to remind you, you're a kafir, inshallah. I don't do this. Why do you bring it up? Do you understand the meaning of the word kafara in the Arabic language? Kafara means kavara. We don't have short vowels in English. But kafara in the Arabic language means to cover. Because what is the meaning of a kafir? Subhanallah, I teach at Al-Azhar University, and in one of my classes I asked my students, I said, hey, stand up, tell me your GP in high school, and tell me what does your father do. And then, they stood up, it's like, okay, I got 3.5, my dad is an engineer, okay, thank you. Next one, I got almost 3.9, my dad is a doctor, and he goes like this. He's so proud. And then the next one, my dad is a farmer. I said, kafir yani. And he's like, huh? Why do you call my dad kafir? I said, it's not me, it's in the Quran. And in the Quran, in Al-Azhar, you have to memorize the Quran 3 times. By junior high, you should finish it. High school, you revise it. And 4 years at the university, you revised it one more time. So I said, do you memorize the Quran? He said, yeah. I said, okay, I'm not going to say open the Mus'haf because it should be here. He said, yeah. I said, do you know Surah Al-Hadid? He said, yeah. Surah number 57 and number 20. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, اعلموا أنما الحياة الدنيا. Allah is telling us the reality of this life, at the end of which He gave us this analogy. He said, كَمَثَلِ غَيْثٍ أَعْجَبَ الْكُفَّارَ نَبَاتُ. This worldly life, with everything that you can see as glittering ornaments, it's like, subhanAllah, a land upon which much rain came down. Allah said, أَعْجَبَ الْكُفَّارَ نَبَاتُ. Then the farmers will like the crop that comes out of that rain. So Allah called the farmers kuffar. Why? Because the root of the word kafara, it means to cover or to conceal. And the farmer, what does he do? He brings the seeds and he conceals them under the soil, and it's Allah who will make the plant grow. So does the word kafir, does it have negative connotations? No. You choose with your own free will. You know that Allah is there, but you conceal that fact. You'll be held accountable for this. This is where the word kafir comes from. Is that clear? So, some people say, this is our attitude. These are kuffar, we're not going to take anything from them. Is that right? You know what? They are your brothers and sisters in humanity because they belong to Adam alayhi salam. And tomorrow, one of them, like that Timothy, could be amongst you now, and after the end of Sheikh Ibrahim's lecture or somebody else's lecture, he's going to come and say, hey, I want to be a Muslim. What should I do? When the Prophet ﷺ came to give da'wah, how many Muslims were there? Everyone around him were, give me the word, kuffar, kafir. Right? What was his attitude? Did he reject everything from them? Subhanallah, Umar. Who was Umar in Jahiliyyah? Who was Umar in Islam? Right? So what do? Do we imitate blindly and take everything? Or do we reject everything? You know what? Let's go to this one. What about this one? We take what agrees with our deen and we leave what's not in agreement with our deen. Amazingly enough, do you know that the Quran has 114 surahs, right? At the time of the Prophet ﷺ, the Quran was not collected in a form of a Mus'haf that we have in our hands now. The numbering of the ayat was not there. Okay? But it's amazing. If I were to ask a question, do we have candy here? Okay. I'll give you candy if you answer my question, inshallah. I have it in my bag. Surah Al-Baqarah. Oh, mashallah, we have something better than candy. If you were to answer my question, inshallah. Great. Surah Al-Baqarah. How many ayahs are there in Surah Al-Baqarah? No, Sheikh Ibrahim. You give us the candy. How many ayahs in Surah Al-Baqarah? Yes. 262. MashaAllah. Where did you learn this? You just looked at Sheikh Google? Astaghfirullah. He's leading you astray. You're wrong. Yeah, but it's not 282. Don't trust Sheikh Google. 262. Allahu Akbar. That's wrong too. That's Sheikh Tim Horton, right? Okay. How many ayahs in Surah Al-Baqarah? Yes. 200? MashaAllah. That's the right answer. Let's give him Hisn al-Muslim. The forces of the Muslim. So, amazingly enough, if you were to divide 286 by 2, what's the number you will get? Okay, the 2 will become 1, the 8 will become 4, the 6 will become 3. It's very simple, right? Oh, come on, I'm not going to give you candy for that, okay? So, ayah 143, what is that ayah? Right in the middle of Surah Al-Baqarah. What does it say? وَكَذَلِكَ جَعَلْنَاكُمْ أُمَّةً وَسَطًا لِتَكُونُوا شُهَدَاءَ عَلَى النَّاسِ. Allahu Akbar. Is Is it random? No, wallahi, it's not. Right in the middle of the surah, Allah is saying, and thus we have made you an ummah in the middle, an ummah of moderation. We don't take either extreme, because no human being is purely evil. Do you know Jack and John, your co-worker? Can you say they are bad people? Do you know Janet and whatever? Can you say she's purely an evil person? No. Wallahi, they have some characters better than some Muslims. They're honest, they're punctual, right? And some of them are almost Muslims. All they need is the Shahada. And it's my job and your job. All they need to know Allah and to change their intention. They do everything because they respect the law. But if they know that Allah is the one who created them and the law, they will submit to Him. Is that clear? So that's what we need to adopt. When it comes to our attitudes, as immigrants, we have to adopt the middle way. Now, moving on, let me ask this question. What's the ultimate goal of a Muslim? Allahu Akbar. Jannatul Firdaus. MashaAllah. If Jannah is the ultimate goal of my life as a Muslim, do you think this is going to affect my decisions in life? Do you think it's going to affect my choices? Say yes or yes? Yes. Yeah, let's follow the Afghani democracy. Okay, now, let me take one example, one aspect of our life, marriage. How many of the people here are married? MashaAllah. Smile, brother. I know you're married. Still smile. Married. Okay. How many people are not married yet? Raise your hands. Shame on you. What are you waiting for? We have sisters, inshallah. We'll do it, inshallah, after we finish. Okay. Now, question is, the Prophet ﷺ told us there are 4 criteria if you are seeking a woman for marriage, right? He said her beauty, her wealth, her lineage, and her deen, right? But then at the end, did he make a recommendation? He said, فَظْفَرْ بِذَاتِ الدِّينِ. If you don't get the one with the deen, you're a loser. فَظْفَرْ. Al-Dhafar means success. Okay? Otherwise you'll be a loser. So as if he's saying, if Jannah is your ultimate goal, right? Which one would you choose for marriage? The one with the deen first, right? So as if he's saying, the priority, if you were to write down, say like number 1, can you write 1 now? Even your imagination. Those single ones, okay? 1. Perfect. If the deen is there, 1 is there. Okay. Some brother told me one time, he called me, I was teaching at the University of Calgary, but he called me here from Toronto. He's like, no, Sheikh, I wanted to come, inshallah, I found her. But I have only one problem. I said, what is it? He said, she has the deen, but she's beautiful too. I said, what? He said, she's religious, but she's beautiful. I said, so what's the problem? He said, the Prophet ﷺ married the one with the deen. I said, did he say she should be the ugliest? You see how some people don't understand the hadith? Anyway, so now, if she's beautiful, what do? We add a 0. Make it a bonus, so it becomes 10, right? What if she's wealthy? Come on, go for it. Add another 0. Bonus, it becomes 100, right? What if she comes from a good family? Add another 0. It becomes 1,000. Allahu Akbar. Take the deen out. Take the 1 out. You end up living with 3 zeros. I know some people are living with 3 zeros and they're suffering. Because Jannah was not the ultimate goal when they made the choice. I know what I'm talking about. I'm a life coach and I receive many people every day coming to say we need to fix the marriage. Because she wants to go that way and he wants to go that way. And they're struggling. Because she's coming back to deen and she wants to bring him back and he's like, no. Or vice versa. Now, do you know The first one to enter Jannah? You know the first one to enter Jannah? It's Prophet Muhammad. This is why when you read in Surah Al-Zumar, towards the end, when Allah talked about hellfire, He said, وَسِيقَ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا إِلَى جَهَنَّمَ زُمَرًا حَتَّى إِذَا جَاءُوهَا فُتِحَتْ أَبْوَابُهَا. Allah said, once the people of hellfire, they will be driven to hellfire in groups. Once they arrive, the door will be open automatically. It's waiting for them, and they're going to be pushed into it. But subhanAllah, the next day Allah said, وَسِيقَ الَّذِينَ اتَّقَوْا رَبَّهُمْ إِلَى الْجَنَّةِ زُمَرًا حَتَّى إِذَا جَاءُوهَا. There's something more here. There's a wow. وَفُتِحَتْ أَبْوَابُهَا. People have to wait, because there is someone who has to go in first. No one can enter before him. The best man ever in the history of mankind. The one we should identify ourselves with. The one we should emulate in our life. The one we should be proud of our identity that we belong to him. His name is Muhammad. He said, on the day of judgment I will come and I will hold the doorknobs of the gates of Jannah and I'm going to knock. And from behind the angel will say, who? I'm going to say Muhammad ibn Abdullah. They're going to say, we have instructions not to open the doors for anyone before you. And then the doors will be open. He will make it. Everyone else can make it after that. Would you like to go to Jannah?
Yes.
It's behind him. It's behind him. Studying who he was and living a life like him. The good news is, the Prophet said, all my ummah will make it to Jannah. Would you like that? But then he said, إِلَّا مَنْ أَبَى. But some people will reject. He said, who is that crazy person? An offer of Jannah and they're saying no? Who would reject Prophet of Allah? He said, مَنْ أَطَاعَنِي دَخَلَ الْجَنَّةِ. Whoever obeys me, whoever follows my footsteps will make it to Jannah. وَمَنْ عَصَانِي فَقَدْ أَبَى. And whoever disobeys me, whoever will not follow me, will never accept to go to Jannah. So it's his own decision. Allahu Akbar. Who would like to make it to Jannah? Make your decision from now. It's behind Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Do you want to have the best community? Say yes or yes? Yes. Okay. Let's go back to the first best community. Why do we have to reinvent the wheel? Right? When the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was first from Mecca to Medina, what was the first thing that he established in that community? Masjid. There you go. It didn't look nice as that now, marble and stuff. It was only mud, right? Subhanallah. When I take people into Umrah, which I do every other month, and we go into the Masjid, and I show them, it's like, listen, this is exactly what's the Masjid of Prophet from here to here. And they're like, Subhanallah. And I show them, say, this is Istuwanat al-Tawbah. This is the pillar of repentance. Where Abu Lubaba, radiallahu anhu, made Tawbah. And he has like a beautiful story, which I'm not going to share with you today. Next time, inshallah, we'll invite me. But the first cornerstone in a Muslim community is the Masjid. And why do I say Masjid? Masjid in the Arabic language stems from sujood. Sajada means you put the most honorable part of your body, which is your forehead and nose, back on dust, where you came from. You remind yourself, I'm nobody unless I submit myself to my Creator. At the time of the Prophet ﷺ, there were no carpets in the Masjid. Ali radiallahu anhu used to say, we used to pray in the Masjid and it will rain. And we finish the salah and we have mud all over of our body, in our face, in our hands, in our knees. Subhanallah. Subhanallah. So the Masjid, what is the symbol of the Masjid? It means a strong relationship between the Creator and the creation. If you want to have a successful community, unless you establish that relationship from the beginning, you can never have a successful community. Bring people to the Masjid. Connect the people to the Masjid. Let them love Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is why, subhanallah, the first command to the Prophet ﷺ was Iqra, read, a symbol of what? Seek knowledge. And after that, for you as a good community, if you want to take Islam to others, what's the second command that came to the Prophet ﷺ? Ya أيها المزمل. Oh, the one who's wrapping himself in clothing. قم الليل إلا قليلا. Establish the night prayers. Right? What does that mean? Have a strong relationship with Allah. So knowledge, then a strong relationship with Allah. And we have both in the masjid here now. Right? You come to the masjid to learn about your deen, to connect with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The word salah stems from salah, which means connection. Unless you connect in your salah with Allah, I would say perfect exercise, mashallah. You go up and down and you exercise. That's what you do. Right? Now, what's the second pillar? When the Prophet ﷺ came, the people in Medina were having wars for almost 40 years. And there are people coming from Mecca and people who are supporting them in Medina. So what was the second step? Brotherhood. Subhanallah. He assigned each brother coming from Mecca a brother from Medina. And they shared everything together. So you establish a relationship between the creation and the creator in the masjid. Now in the community, establish a relationship between the creation and the creation. That's the second important pillar in a good, successful Muslim community. What's the third pillar? The Prophet ﷺ moved to Medina, and in Medina, it was not all Muslims. There were Jews there. There were polytheists there, right? So, what did he do? That's the third one, the constitution. Showing that all people are citizens of this country. They have equals. لَكُمْ دِينُكُمْ وَلِيَ دِينُ. You have your faith, I have my faith. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala established the law that govern our relationship with the non-Muslims in one ayah. Surah number 60, Surah Al-Mumtahina, ayah number 8. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, لا ينهاكم الله عن الذين لم يقاتلوكم في الدين ولم يخرجوكم من دياركم أن تبروهم وتقسطوا إليهم إن الله يحب المقسطين. Allahu Akbar. That needs a book to write the law. One ayah. The words of Allah are inimitable. They are miraculous. Allah said, Allah does not forbid you as regards those who do not fight you on account of your faith and do not expel you out of your homes to do what? The best two characters. He said, tabarruhum. Use the word al-birr, which you have to use in your relationship with your parents. Allahu Akbar. Righteousness. Be fair. The Quran was revealed. The Quran was revealed to prove the innocence of a Jewish person accused by some Muslims. Would you like to know the story? Yeah. Oh, 5 only. I'm not going to share it. Next time, inshallah. Okay. Now, so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, Allah does not forbid you. Regards those who do not fight you on account of your faith, do not expel you out of your homes, and tabarruhum, to be righteous in your dealing with them. وَتُقْسِطُوا إِلَيْهِمْ, to be fair with them. Don't say he's not a Muslim, so I'm gonna, lie, I'm gonna cheat. No. These are not the characters of a Muslim. إِنَّ اللَّهَ يُحِبُّ الْمُقْسِطِينَ. Who would like to be loved by Allah? Raise your hand. Shame on you. One hand? 2 hands? Okay. So Allah said, Allah loves those who are fair. Be fair, Allah will love you, inshallah. Now, moving on, let's conclude. There are 3 aspects that affect our identity. And basically the number 1 is education, right? You go to school, they teach you stuff that's completely different from our generation. And this is why now I'm talking to the parents. Your children go to school, they study things you have never studied. There's so many challenges. They are living in a different environment. This is where the challenge of the identity stems from. The society around them also influences them. There are certain principles and values that are not Islamic, so they struggle with them. Media is bombarding them every day. This is the way you should look. This is what you should eat. This is how we should speak. It's molding their minds, right? So we need to know that these are the three areas. Number one is education, number two is the media, number three is the society. Now, because of the time, let me conclude with some tips to protect our identity as Muslims. Number one, what makes our community stand out? Give me one word. Islam. Or Muslims. Right? Because when I ask you, Akhi, where are you from? So I'm Afghani. So you're from Afghanistan? Yeah. And are you Asian? I said I'm Afghani. Right? I know it happens with us as Egyptians. Any Egyptians here? Not to offend anyone? Okay, so please bear with me, inshallah. I was talking to some friends and I said, like, where are you from? And they know I'm Egyptian too. It's like, I'm Egyptian. I said, are you African? I said, huh? Why do you say that? I said, because we are. We're Africans when there's like a scholarship for Africa. So we pick and choose when it comes to our identity, right? If it's giving me benefits, I'm gonna, yeah, I'm African, of course. Well, North African. Now, the Prophet ﷺ was sitting with the Sahaba and Salman, the Persians. Since we're talking about the Afghans here, mashallah, he was sitting amongst them. So Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu was a historian. He was a scholar in lineage. He can get you the whole history of a tribe. So the Prophet ﷺ said, okay, give us your lineage. So Abu Bakr said, Ana min Tayyib. I belong to the tribe of Tayyib. And then after that, it was the turn of Umar. He said, Umar said, Ana min Adi. I'm from the tribe of Adi. And then another was like, Ana from Qais. And then when the turn of Salman came, he said some words that made everybody cry. Would you like to hear them?
Yes. Yes.
Would you like to hear them?
Yes.
Okay. He said, أبي الإسلام لا أبا لي سواه منهم افتخروا بقيس أو تميم. He said, my point of pride is that I'm a Muslim. Even if they brag about being from Tayyib or Qais or Adi. So everybody amongst the Sahaba, including Abu Bakr and Umar, started crying, and everybody started claiming him. Abu Bakr said, Salman is from us, the tribe of Tayyib. And Umar said, Salman is from us, the tribe of Adi. The Prophet said, Salman minna al al-bayt. The Prophet said, Salman belonged to us, the family of the Prophet. Because Salman understood what it means when it comes to identity. Brothers and sisters, yes, I was born in Egypt. I love Egypt so much. And I wish I could live there, inshallah, soon, inshallah. Okay? But the question is, my pride is the fact that I'm a Muslim before anything else. When I meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He's not going to ask me about my color, my language, my dress. Allah's going to ask me, did I know Him? Did I submit to Him? Did I apply my deen? Did I know my Prophet? Remember the three questions. What's identity? Some brothers, like, you ask them, what's your name? It's like, my name is Muhammad, alhamdulillah. And this is my way to Jannah. Because my father's name is Ahmed, one of the names of the Prophet too. And my mother's name is Khadija. My sister's name is Aisha. We made it to Jannah. Come on, it's not that easy. It's not your name that will take you to Jannah. And unfortunately, subhanAllah, when we move to another part of the world like this, some people even hide their identity, right? They come into the country, and his name was Muhammad, right? You meet him today, it's like, no. Hey, brother Muhammad, assalamu alaikum. He's like, you talking to me? My name is Mike, man. Huh? You're Mike? Come on. Yeah. And here's my friend, another Muhammad, but his name is Mo now, okay? What's happening? Sister, what's your name? You mean before immigration or after immigration? Before immigration, I was Fatima, now I'm Faye. Right? They used to call me Daddy back home, but now I'm Delicious. I don't know why. Why would we change our names? Why? It's not your name. It's about who you are. Unfortunately, the media, the school, the society, they try to bombard you and put thoughts in your mind. And you try to be what they want you to be. But I want you, when you look into the mirror, ask yourself, who am I? And the answer is, I'm a Muslim. Before anything else, I'm a Muslim. I submit to Allah. And I will let nothing except the book of Allah and the sunnah of His Prophet to mold my thoughts. You know, sometimes some people, like, you know, when people like hide their identity, like, you know, if I wear the hijab, they're gonna know I'm a Muslim. So they take off the hijab because they don't want to be known as Muslims. Again, sister, who commanded you to wear the hijab? It's Allah. And I don't have time to spend much time with you about this, because we can have another conference, Allah will talk about this. Because Allah commanded us very clearly in Surah An-Nur, Surah number 24 and number 31. And in Surah Al-Ahzab, Surah number 33 and number 59. These are two ayat very clearly speaking about hijab. And some people are like, no, really, is the Quran talking about hijab? Yeah. So it's not your image, it's not your language, it's not your name that will take you to Jannah. What makes you stand out is your identity as a Muslim in the true, full sense of the word. You know what? We have one global identity today. This is why they want to make it like a universal identity. Amazing love, I was traveling to Malaysia, which I'm going next week, inshallah, and I stopped in Hong Kong. And I saw the young people are listening to the same music that the people are listening to here in Canada. It's like, wow, what does that tell you? I teach at Al-Azhar University, and I was like walking into the class, and I found one of my students is wearing a baseball cap. I said, what's this? He said, I see it in the American movies. What is that? It's blind imitation. He thinks he's going to be American by wearing this baseball cap. What is this? It's called global identity now. They don't want you to stand out as a Muslim. Now, when we come here, we're not going to melt. We'll become Muslims. And we'll stay Muslims. And we'll take Islam to others. Amazingly enough, you hear about trends that come every day, right? Have you heard about capitalism? Have you heard about communism? Can you give me any more isms? Racism. What else? Feminism. Socialism. What are these isms? They come and go. Right? 20 years, 25 years, and then they go. It's like a fashion. But only one thing will remain, inshallah, the good news. إن الدين عند الله الإسلام. So number 3, Al-Imran, and number 19. That's not an ism, that's a religion. It will always be there. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala established the fact in the same surah, surah number 3, ayah 85. He said, وَمَنْ يَبْتَغِ غَيْرَ الْإِسْلَامِ دِينًا. Whoever will come on the day of judgment embracing any other religion other than Islam, فَلَنْ يُقْبَلَ مِنْهُ. It will not be accepted from him. وَهُوَ فِي الْآخِرَةِ مِنَ الْخَاسِرِينَ. And he will be amongst the losers on the day of judgment. That's it. No isms. Stand out as a Muslim. Keep your identity. How can we do it? Let's connect back with the Quran. The most powerful words on earth. The words of Allah. They are in your hands. Can I ask the uncles, the older generation who are my age, 70 and above, inshallah. Remember the old days when we used to receive emails? Oh, there was no email at that time, right? It was only mail. There was no EB before the mail, right? And subhanAllah, in the mail, we would receive a letter from our fiancé. You know how we deal with that letter back in the days? Man, we'll be very careful when we open the letter. And then we'll make sure it's folded the same way. And then once you open it, You sit down as if it's revelation. Start reading every word with khushu'. Imagining your fiancée, how she was sitting when she was writing this. Right? And you read it, and after you finish, because you're living away from her, start shedding some tears. Right? No, you fold it, mashallah, he was there. He was there. Yeah, he was there, mashallah. He knows exactly what I'm talking about. Mashallah. This is the youngest person in the room, mashallah. Almost my age, right? 70 something, right?
Just 70.
Mashallah, so I'm older than you. No problem, mashallah. No problem. But we live the same experience, mashallah. Okay, so after you finish it, you put it under the pillow. Maybe you will see her in the tree. And then when you wake up, you miss her, you open the you open the letter again. You start reading again. These are the words of a human being that you love. Do you love Allah? Do you love Allah?
Yes.
Do you miss Him?
Yes.
The scholar said, if you want Allah to talk to you, stand up and pray. If you want to talk to Allah, stand up and pray. You are in a dialogue with Allah. If you want Allah to talk to you, open the Mus'haf. Because Allah says, Ya Bani Adam, O sons of Adam. Allah says, Ya ayyuhan nas, O mankind, 20 times. Allah says to special people who left their homes and came to listen to this boring speaker, here in the house of Allah, 90 times. Ya ayyuhal ladina amanu. Say yes, Allah.
Yes.
90 times Allah is calling you. Oh, you who believe. After which Abdullah ibn Mas'ud said, Allah will always say, do something or stay away from something. So if you miss Allah, go back and connect with the Quran. Allah will talk to you. One time I was giving a lecture to a group of teenagers. How many teenagers here? MashaAllah, very good, MashaAllah, huge number. Anybody my age, 14 and younger? I switched, don't worry, okay? MashaAllah. And when I first came, I said, hey bros, I have a quiz for you. I gave everyone a paper and a pen. I said, I want you in less than 10 seconds to write down 10 celebrities in the world. MashaAllah, it took them 5 seconds to finish. 5 seconds. Okay? Then I said, flip the page. I want you to write the 10 Sahaba that were promised Jannah while they were walking on earth. He said, what are you talking about? What do you mean by Sahaba? I said, Sahaba means those people who were with the Prophet ﷺ, the companions of the Prophet ﷺ. Oh, okay. And the best of them came with 3 names. And I hope that they were right. Because he said Abu Bakr. I said, his last name? Man, that's enough. Come on. I'm busy. And it's like, okay, second one, he said Umar ibn Affan. It's not even Umar ibn Khattab. He put Umar and Uthman together, okay? And then the third one, he said Ali ibn al-Khattab. It's not even Ali ibn Abi Talib. This is how much they know. So if we want to rebuild our community and to establish our identity, let's go back. Let's go back and study the history of the giants who carried Islam on their shoulders. And thanks to Allah, then to them, that we are Muslims today. 114,000 companions of the Prophet ﷺ, only 10,000 of them are buried in Arabia. The rest of them are everywhere in the world. So you left Afghanistan, we left Africa, me and Brother Ibrahim, we left, wherever you come from, Pakistan, India, Lebanon, whatever. Remember one thing, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in ayah 110 in Surah Al-Imran praised this ummah. He said, كنتم خير أمة أخرجت للناس. You're the best ummah, the best people. Look at the wording Allah is using. He didn't say Let me just give you the translation. Allah said, أُخْرِجَتْ لِلنَّاسِ. What's the meaning of أُخْرِجَتْ? Allah saved us to the end of time and said, this is the time now, go out. You're here for the people, not for yourselves. You're employed as prophets. You're going to carry da'wah because there are no prophets after Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. And Allah said to him, وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَاكَ إِلَّا رَحْمَةً لِلْعَالَمِينَ. He was sent as mercy to all mankind, but he passed away. Who's going to continue the message? Me and you, by studying the history. We should lead by example. If we want to raise our children and to keep their identity, we should raise them by example. I'm going to stop after this one because I know the time is coming. You know what? Sometimes we say things and do the opposite. And there's a saying amongst the hypocrites, let me quote them, they say, don't look at what I'm doing, but listen to what I'm saying. Do you disagree or disagree with this one? Disagree, right? Yeah. But you know what? Unfortunately, we do it. Huh? Yeah, we do it at home. Let me tell you this. How we lead by example at home. A man will come to me and say, you know, Dr. Reda, my son has become a professional liar. I said, really? He's like, yeah. I said, where do you think he learned that? He must have learned it somewhere. Right? Would you like to know where he learned that? Shall I give you a real example now? Anybody give me a phone? Give me a phone. The phone starts ringing. Right? And there's an ID, like, and then you call your son. And then your son takes the phone, and he's like, Assalamu alaikum, uncle. I don't know, my dad is doing weird stuff. Let me just check with him what's going on. Dad, what do you want to say? He's like, stupid. Tell him I'm not here. Hey, calm down. Assalamu alaikum, uncle. My dad is telling you he's not here. He's an innocent child, right? What are you doing? Teaching him to be a professional liar, inshallah. Isn't that what we do at home? Come on, yes or yes? Yes. And then we wonder, like, why did he learn lying? Right at home. Okay, shall we pick on the sisters?
Yes.
Alhamdulillah, I have bodyguards enough to take me out safe, right? Okay, here's what happens. Somebody knocks on the door. Okay? And then she tells her daughter, go and pick up the door. She opens the door. It's like, Auntie so-and-so. And that auntie, she criticized her in the last wedding, the way she was dressed. So she hates her now. She's blacklisted. Then she tells her, right? So she goes back and is like, you know, I'm sorry, auntie, like, my mom is telling you she's sleeping. My mom is telling you she's sleeping. Mashallah, she talks in her sleep. She needs to see a doctor, right? Why? Because your girl is innocent. She doesn't know lying, right? We are at the dinner table, we are eating, right? What happens? We, the adults, starts backbiting, which is a major sin. We talk about someone in their absence, and we say things that they don't like to hear. That's backbiting. Because some people say, you know, oh, we're telling the truth. She's cheap. She buys no name all the time. Right? I'm talking about the brothers like he's obese, and he is. Does he like to hear this? No, that's backbiting. That's a major sin. So we do this, and subhanAllah, all of a sudden, one of your kids who attended the halaqah, he said, hey dad, I heard the sheikh talking yesterday that this is backbiting, this haram. It's like, shut up. This is adult talk. We know what we're doing. Don't get involved in this. We do this? Yes. We do this at home. So watch out. If you want to teach your kids, lead by example. If you want them to be honest all the time. Don't do anything wrong in front of them. Because they're going to copy what you do. They're not going to ask you about the rationale behind it, but they're going to copy you. You know what? I'm just going to stop here, inshallah. Maybe one more time when I see you, we might just concluding with this ayah. We need to understand this, and this is the message to take home, inshallah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala summed up the mission of a believer in this ayah. Can you repeat after me? 66.6. This is not a radio station, okay? This is the number of the surah and the number of the ayah. 66 is Surah Al-Tahrim, and 6 is the number of the ayah. Is that clear? That ayah sums up your mission in life. What does it say? It's one of Ya ayyuha alladhina amanu. One of the 90, Ya ayyuha alladhina amanu. Would you listen, inshallah, with your heart? Ya ayyuha alladhina amanu. Say yes, Allah.
Yes,
Allah's calling you. It's a special call. Wallahi, like one time I was sitting in front of my shaykh while he was teaching us, and when he said this, I went like this. Allah's calling me, mashallah. I hope to be a true believer, inshallah, and I deserve that call. And he was so happy with that. We are interacting with the Quran, right? So Allah's saying, oh, you who believe, yes, Allah. قُوا أَنفُسَكُمْ وَأَهْلِيكُمْ نَارًا. That's your job in life. Save yourself and your family from hellfire. Allah could have said, save yourselves and your family from hunger, from cold, from ignorance, right? From so many things. But you know what? Many parents die, and Allah takes care of the children after that. And the best example is the best man in the history of mankind. He lost his father before he came to the dunya. He lost his mother when he was 6 years old. But Allah took care of him. So your main mission in life is to work hard to save yourself. Don't forget, because some people forget themselves. And your family from hellfire. That's your job. And that's the meaning of keep your identity in order for you to make it to Jannah. And this is the last slide. I hope you like it, inshallah. It says, do you have any questions?
The mortgage question.
No, thank you. Oh, one question? Okay, we'll get that, inshallah. Okay, mortgage. Astaghfirullah. You know what? After Fajr today, I shared a nice reminder with the brothers in the Masjid. And here's the offer. Who would like halal life insurance for free? Let me repeat the offer again. Let me repeat the offer again, so that everybody can reflect on what I'm saying. Who would like halal life insurance for free? Raise your hand. Halal life insurance for free. Some people are not interested, because they say, you know, this shit is weird. Life insurance, halal, free. Come on, we're living in Canada. Now, here's the story. The Shaykh mentioned the hadith. The Prophet ﷺ said, من صلى العشاء في جماعة فهو في ذمة الله حتى يصبح. Whoever prays Isha in Jama'ah, he is under the protection of Allah until the morning. ومن صلى الفجر في جماعة فهو في ذمة الله حتى يمسي. And whoever prays Fajr in Jama'ah, he is under the protection of Allah until the evening. What is this called? Life insurance, halal, for free. As simple as this. One of the kids heard this. One of the kids heard the hadith. He liked it. He told his dad before they went to bed, because he never wakes him up for Fajr. He said, Dad? He said, yeah. He said, let's make a deal. If you don't wake me up for Fajr tomorrow, I'm not going to school. And his dad took him light. He's like, no, he's a kid. That's what we do sometimes with the kids. Wallahi, sometimes they're better than us. And he didn't wake him up. Why? It's like it's cold outside, man. He's still young. So the kid woke up, he saw the sun rising. He said, Dad, I said, yes, I'm not going to school. And he didn't go. Again, during the night, he said, Dad, let's go and confirm the deal again. If you don't wake me up for Fajr, I'm not going to school tomorrow. Now the dad learned the lesson. This is why I give a lecture called Raising Our Parents. And people get confused, like, no, Sheikh, you mean raising our children? No. It's called raising our parents. Because sometimes we learn through them, wallahi. So anyway, the dad woke him up. And the kid went, prayed Fajr. It was one of those like winter days. And it was very close to the school time. And it's back home. Back home, if you are late for school, there's only one way to deal with you. You know it?
A stick.
Yeah, they have a stick, and they whip you with the hand. So subhanAllah, he was asked to stay behind, and the teacher came, and there were 5 of them. First one opened his hand, he got hit, and he went to his class. When the turn of that kid came, he said, open your hand. I said, I don't think I can open my hand. It's like, how dare you say this? You're late, and you're saying this too? He said, I don't think even you can hit me. He said, what? Where's this coming from? He said, it's coming from the Prophet ﷺ. So what do you mean? He said, the Prophet ﷺ said, whoever prays Fajr in Jama'ah, he's under the protection of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala till the evening. Can you hit someone under the protection of Allah? He said, no, go to your class. Yallah, go. Look at the yaqeen of a child. That's the yaqeen of a child. And wallahi, sometimes they listen to something and they have open hearts more than us. I share like one ayah with my kids every day, and I say, let's just share one ayah every day. But the condition is we need to apply it as a way of life. We read the ayah and it was the day of Eid. Went to the Eid, finished the khutbah. On his way out of the Masjid, he searched his pocket, he found $2. He put them in the donation box. And he went out. 10 minutes later, he was coming to the house crying. I said, what's wrong? He said, no. Remember the story that you shared with us about Abu Bakr who was crying because he was happy when he was the company of Rasulullah in the Hijrah? I said, yes. He said, look, I'm crying out of happiness. I said, tell me the story. He said, no, I'm going to cliffhanger you. You do it to us all the time. I said, please, I'm going to give you $10. Like, yeah, there you go. Give me the $10. So he said, you remember the ayah that we recited this morning? He said, yeah. He said, I lived the ayah today. And Allah fulfilled the promise in the ayah with me today. I said, tell me the story. He said, I donated $2. And just 2 minutes after I went to the parking lot, Uncle so-and-so saw me. And in our culture, we give kids money during the Eid. He gave me $20. What was the ayah? مَنْ جَاءَ بِالْحَسَنَةِ فَلَهُ عَشْرُ أَمْثَالِهَا. That was the ayah. Whoever does one righteous deeds, Allah multiplies the reward 10 times. That was in the dunya. So going back to mortgage, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made it very clear in the Quran. وَأَحَلَّ اللَّهُ الْبَيْعَ وَحَرَّمَ الرِّبَى. That doesn't need any explanation. Allah made sale halal, and Allah made riba, interest, mortgage, haram. Is that clear? Yeah. It doesn't need any explanation. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala warned the believers in the same surah, Surah Al-Baqarah. Ya ayyuha alladhina amanu. One of Ya ayyuha alladhina amanu again is not talking to anyone. And it's only, by the way, it's only those who believe who would listen to Allah when He calls upon them. Ittaqullah. Be conscious of Allah. You're going to stand in front of Him on the payday, when you're going to be paid back for what you have done here. وَذَرُوا مَا بَقِيَ مِنَ الرِّبَى إِن كُنتُم مُؤْمِنِينَ. Stop dealing with riba if you are true believers. فَإِن لَمْ تَفْعَلُوا فَأْذَنُوا بِحَرْبٍ مِّنَ اللَّهِ وَرَسُولِهِ. If you don't stop dealing with riba, you are waging a war against Allah and His Messenger. Who can win a war against Allah and His Messenger? Wallahi, a couple came to me one time. They were struggling with their life back in Calgary. And the first question I asked the brothers, like, no, do you have any mortgage? He said, 3. I have a house by mortgage, I have another house that I'm renting, getting money out of that. And I have a car by mortgage, and I'm having another car I'm renting to get money out of that. I said, do tawbah. He was in debt. Despite all of that, he was in debt. And when he came to me, he was laid off from his job. He didn't know how to deal with it. SubhanAllah, he went and he got rid of all the mortgage. I saw him after 2 years. He has a job and he owns an apartment. I'm saying he owns, not renting. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will bless the halal money even if it's little. And Allah will never bless the haram money even if it's billions. Now, can mortgage at some time become halal? Only in one case. Only in one case. And I know that some people today, they always quote one fatwa. They say, when are we going to own a house in the West? When are we going to listen? In reality, when it comes to mortgage, you never own a house. It's the house that owns you. You are enslaved to a bank. And the bank is the one that owns everything. And we all know the story. Let's say you are 30 or 35 now. You go into a mortgage for 30, 35 years. First of all, you pay the amount of money 3 times the value of the house. And that's haram. And by the time you become 70, I'm not sure whether you make it to 70 or not, and you leave the house behind, you never know how it's going to be used. Number 3, you are engaged in haram to start with. Number 4, if anything happens to you, the recession hits, what happens? Turn on the key, get out of the house. Because it's the bank that owns the house. And the Prophet ﷺ, I'm going to scare you with this hadith. Every time a janazah, a funeral would come to the masjid, the first question the Prophet ﷺ would ask would be, is he in debt? Was he in debt? And if they say yes, he's going to say, let someone else pray on him. It doesn't mean he's out of Islam, astaghfirullah, he's still a Muslim. But the Prophet ﷺ will not give him the honor that the Imam of the Muslims will pray on him. Until one time, one of the Sahaba, I'm talking about a halal debt, not a mortgage debt. I'm talking about the Sahaba, a halal debt. Someone came and the Prophet ﷺ asked them, they said yes, he was in debt. And Abu Qatada radiallahu anhu said, دَيْنُهُ دَيْنِ يَا رَسُولَ اللَّهِ, I'll pay off on his behalf, Prophet of Allah. So the Prophet ﷺ prayed on him and he asked Abu Qatada the following day, did you pay off? He said, not yet. 3 days the same answer. And then the 4th day he said, yes, Prophet of Allah. He said, الْآنَ بَرْضَ الْجِلْدَةُ. Now, the punishment in the grave stopped after you paid off his debt. And it's a halal debt. Let alone when you leave this world with a haram debt. So it becomes halal only in one case. And that was the fatwa that was given earlier, which was a brother called, he was living in the States, and he had 8 children. He doesn't have any visa to any other country. He cannot leave the States. And where he used to live was a very cold state. There was snow all the time. And there is no apartment that will host him and his 8 children. So the only scenario in front of him was to have a house. And he was laid off from his job. And nobody's lending him money. So this is what we call in the Sharia, a necessity renders what's impermissible to be permissible. It's exactly when we have an air crash, we end up all of us in the middle of nowhere in the desert, and there is nothing to eat except pork and nothing to drink except alcohol. What should we do in this scenario? Eating pork becomes an obligation. If you don't eat it, you have committed suicide and it's haram. And you have to drink the alcohol. And you're going to say, man, this is your golden chance now. The bottle is here. No. Just take a sip to keep yourself alive. And the moment you see water somewhere, it becomes haram right away, because it's a necessity. Once the necessity is not there, it becomes haram again. I hope the answer was clear, inshallah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala keep us away from mortgage. And wallahi, brothers and sisters, it's all about showing off in front of people. I have lived in this country now for 13 years. I never owned a house. If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave me money, I will own a house. It's not a big deal, but it has to be cash. It has to be my house. I'm going to go give the money, have the house. And subhanAllah, why would you buy something that you don't have the money to buy? It's nonsense. This is why when people ask me, what's the definition of a credit card? I say it's a plastic piece through which you buy things that you don't need, to impress people that you don't know, with money that you don't have. That's what a credit card is. And this is how they fool you into the credit card, and you start, the credit, and then you get lost after that, and you get drowning in your debts. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless our money.
Sheikh, full car insurance is allowed?
The basic insurance, which you have no way to stay away from. The basic insurance.
Allowed.
Again, because this is a necessity. Dealing with the bank itself. How many people here have bank accounts? Including the speaker. I'm raising my two hands. And I have a credit card, by the way, too. But why? Because I travel the world almost every week. So whenever I go to a hotel, they will never allow me in, except with a credit card. And I never wait till the due date. Never. Okay, so I pay off right away. And this is it's a means. So we have to deal with the bank because we have no other option. But again, when you go to the bank, you have two options. They tell you there's a checking account and there's a saving account. Checking account means no interest. Saving account means there is interest. Then you make your choice. Checking account. I can put my money anytime, I can take the money anytime. But if you choose to go for the saving account, you're going into interest with your own free will, and that's haram. Okay? And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows best. Jazakumullah khair for inviting me. And inshallah, we'll see you next year, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.